Hello and welcome back to the LCS, where we're revving up for our next game of the day, where Optic Gaming takes on Golden Guardians. Make sure you have your playoff tickets on lock so you can see who will make the run for St. Louis. Reserve your seats for those best of fives at riot.com/LCS tickets. Do it now.
The atmosphere, those final events are always so hype. You don't want to miss out.
You gonna be there?
I'm going to be there.
I'm gonna be there.
We'll both be there.
I'm gonna shake your hand. Let's rotate over to the roster rundown. Selecting on the blue side, it's Echo Fox. That means in the top lane, it is Solo. Roaming around in the jungle is Rush. Mid lane controlled by Fenix. Your bot lane is Apollo with his support Hakuho, and Coach Song and Tyler for picks and bans.
Opposite them on the red side today, it's going to be Team Liquid. In the top lane, Impact. In the jungle, Xmithie. Mid laner, Jensen. Bot and support going to be DoubleLift and CoreJJ with coaches Kane and Dodo.
Echo Fox come into this week with their playoff dreams alive after their hottest week yet.
Yeah, Rush returned, and he brought their best performance yet. The team is 6-6 with Rush, 0-4 without him. So certainly he has been bringing many more of those results. And, you know, it did break that losing streak that they had been on, right? They swapped Rush out. They lost 4 straight games with Panda, who had some pretty good early games, but they were never able to really close it out. You do have to say, though, it was not all about Rush. I do think that Echo Fox as a team played well, and they ran these triple scaling comps. You know, they're Vladimir, they had a 0 mid lane, a Jinx bot lane, and that looked great for them because if teams aren't able to close out early, you're going to get dominated in late game.
And the question you ask yourself is this strategy going to work against Team Liquid, who is probably pretty mad they've dropped a few games recently?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to have a clean closeout to the season, and I think it depends largely on what TL's plan is today. Is TL going to continue to experiment and try to go with harder to execute comps? If they do that, hey, maybe there's a way in, but you have to think, if they go to comfort, which generally is team fighting, they should be able to do the same thing that Echo Fox is doing, but better. You also have to remember Echo Fox face TLG tomorrow, so an upset win here could give them all the momentum moving forward in that playoff race.
You have to think Fenix has been kind of popping off on his Azir. Things are being focused there, so they have another band opened up. We heard Crumb saying if there's that aggressive jungle, it's something Team Liquid hasn't been able to come back on very well. If Xmithie's actually put down in the jungle, which doesn't happen very often, then that is a big factor of Team Liquid kind of falling apart throughout that mid game.
It totally is. I mean, when you look at their loss against TSM in the first round robin, Xmithie certainly was struggling in that game, did not have a good game. Acadian was bullying him around in the early stages. They were getting punished kind of wherever he did go. So, you know, Xmithie is such a smart, consistent jungler that if you can knock this guy out of his element, if you can make him have a bad game, you know, he's not there necessarily in all the right times, all the right places to actually plug the holes for Team Liquid and kind of keep them afloat until they can take over in those mid and late game stages where they really are at their best.
That's Echo Fox's goal. You have to silence the captain of Team Liquid. Make it quiet. Quiet as chaos in League. One more ban on each side here. 20 seconds left for Echo Fox as they favor the Ryze and Kennen ban against Liquid, and Silas and Jace from the side of Liquid themselves.
I mean, it's really tough when you're going up against a team like Liquid because as we were kind of talking about, you shut down Xmithie, that helps, but there's still Impact, Jensen, DoubleLift, CoreJJ, like all of their players are such monsters that they can get individual leads in lanes, they can take over games by themselves, and that does make it very difficult to try to craft a game plan to take down a team like this because there's not just one clear point where you say, oh, you just stop that guy and you win.
There's that Gangplank ban again. We saw that a few times last week, I believe, at least once last week. And Team Liquid will have their final few seconds to say. Vladimir gets taken out. Solo's actually had pretty good games on Vladimir, not the carry potential, but enough for Rush to be able to focus on the jungle. Fenix to be able to carry from the mid.
Yeah, and Vladimir was a key part of their success against C9 last week. That was their big upset win against one of the top teams that makes you think, hey, maybe they could do it against Liquid, right? Sure, it is, you know, odds-on favorites to Liquid, but Echo Fox taking down one of the top teams in the leagues makes you think that there's a chance they could make it happen.
The Team Liquid sees last week, he's like, wait, Solo 2 wins, Echo Fox's first 2-0 weekend. Let's take that Vladimir away. He's not going to get to play it again. Jensen getting a stretch. Kench getting a high five, saying nothing. He's good. Seems like he's good. Tahm Kench locked in. Xmithie on the hover now. What do they decide to lock in here for the team itself? They just take his own jungler so they can keep that aggression up and a little bit of movement around the map that Tahm Kench global ultimate.
Yeah, still obviously potential for that J4 to go up to the top side, you know, played by Impact if they want to look for that. I know Impact certainly can play it, but
Nice.
Grabbing an early Jinx here, I think this makes a lot of sense as well. You know, they've now taken away 2 of the 3 kind of scaling picks that Xbox used against C9. They've banned out the Vladimir, they've taken away the Jinx, so they are trying to essentially match the style that you're assuming Xbox wants to do. And that's kind of what we talked about in the intro here was, hey, if TL is going for a late game team fighting style and Xbox just does the same, well, Team Liquid's probably just better at it than they are.
Yep.
So I think this is, you know, kind of a more of a safe approach for TL. Just match what your opponents are doing and just count on individual skill discrepancies to really get you through the game.
Apollo on your screen as the team is thinking of what to choose next. See the coach is standing behind them. Words of wisdom flowing out as the players agreeing, disagreeing, picking what they want.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of left in this situation now for Echofox where you say, okay, well, do we still go scaling? Do I try to play a Tristana or something, or kog'maw or whatever, and match him in the late game? Do I pick Sivir? Should I go something like a Lucian or a Draven and try to slam that Jinx in lane and we try to close out early?
You already don't want to see the Jinx late.
Yeah, I mean, they have essentially these 3 champions here with the Aatrox, the J4, and the Lissandra that are going to be really powerful in the early and mid-game stages. Going to offer you a lot of engaging potential, a lot of dive back onto that Jinx. So do you kind of all in on that strategy and try to go full early mid-game and hope that you can close out against TL? Or do you try to kind of soften that a little bit and draft some late-game contingencies that could help you out if you have to end up going there? Xmithie going to be grabbing the Rek'Sai, which has been monstrous in the early game stages. And certainly he had an incredible game last week on the Rek'Sai. Was very, very impressive and completely took over the game. So we know he's capable of doing it. It is such a powerful duelist.
Was it dodging the Orianna ult and whatnot? Oh man, that was dirty. Yeah, Xmithie was definitely feeling it. It was funny too because we had a Classic Legends game on where CLG was playing C9, but DoubleLift and Xmithie were on the same team. Xmithie was still playing Rek'Sai. I was like, man, this guy 5 years ago was still playing that Rek'Sai. He knows exactly what he's doing. So he's got the queen of the Xmithie now in his hands for this game here on week 9. Rakan being banned out. Apollo and Hakuho have actually been going back to the Xayah Rakan combo. Worked out well in Academy the past few days if you've been watching the playoffs, but it will be banned out here for the Lovers duo today. And Syndra taken away from Jensen. We have a bit of a mismatch first half pick, so we're going to get those focus bans.
Yeah, are targeting Hakuho here so far, you know, in those bans, you know, taking away the Rakan, something that certainly can be very powerful against Jinx plus Tahm Kench, not only because you can actually CC up the Jinx, but ideally that Rakan actually CCs up both of them and locks them both down with that ultimate and knock up, and that allows you to maybe take down the Jinx before she has time to be devoured by Tahm Kench, so going to be taking that away. Braum gives you a lot of safety and stability. Also does pair up well with some of the strong early laners, such as Lucian, if that was the way that Echofox wanted to go, while Echofox are just targeting mid lane picks here for Jensen, and it's Urgot top lane. Wow. And this is the heavily nerfed Urgot. This is, you know, pretty much one of the lowest, if not the lowest win rate champion in top lane on this current patch, because this is not live patch with the, I mean, yes, it's a patch change, but it's more like a semi-rework that has come out. So this is a very weak version of the champion. We'll see if he's going to be able to actually hold up against this Aatrox, which we're assuming is going to go topside. And Apollo is going to manage scaling with scaling. Grabbing the kog'maw here, which certainly did not look good in game 1 today.
No, I actually thought it was going to go something sliver, but I like
Lulu.
this.
That is full on
like, choice. Let's go. They're going to try to protect the heck out of him, but that's really the only protection. Everybody else on this team wants to go in. You can have Fenix staying back, but this guy, he's always wants to be in the fight. He's making plays. I don't see him being a Ring of Frost protector for Apollo.
That being said, there's not a lot of dive really from TL, right? So, you know, the Cassio can't run through the Aatrox and the Lissandra and the J4 to get onto the kog'maw unless he's out of position. So, you know, you send these 3 frontliners forward. You say, go forth, my noble protectors, and the kog'maw sits in the back line and just spitting out damage as fast as he can. I think a lot of this will come down to the execution, though, certainly. Both of them do have very powerful team fighting in the later stages. Certainly the frontline advantage, I think, kind of goes to the side of TL. They're going to have their top laner and their jungler diving in. Urgot is certainly going to become very, very tanky. It's going to be up more to, I think, you know, this Aatrox to kind of be ahead, using that ultimate as a pseudo frontline, using Lissandra ultimate as a pseudo frontline. But TL can just hit whoever comes forward and try to get an execute off with that Urgot. So it's going to be a really, really interesting one. A good mix of kind of early and late game on these two teams.
I'm looking around at what Hakuho has been playing. Everything goes forward, everything engages. Even the Orns, the Leonas in the beginning of the season, is Rakan, Braum, Alistar, Tahm, Kench, Gallios, you go back through it. So this supportive, sure he can play it, but that's supportive first time for Hakuho, so they can really get Apollo going. It's the first time we're seeing it, and Echo Fox is starting to bring new things out of the woodwork here in week 9.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, range support versus melee. Tahm Kench has very little lane priority. Lulu certainly should be able to bully this lane a little bit. It is Guardian Lulu though, so not full on trying to actually slam this lane. It's not something like an Ares Scorch. They're playing Guardian, and they are gonna be playing heal on Hakuho, barrier on Apollo, so very defensive setup. That plus Guardian, and it's actually Hail of Blades kog'maw, something I have not seen.
Just going to point that out. Very interesting. How is this going to work out for him, for people that don't know Hail of Blades?
So Hail of Blades does give you a very powerful kind of upfront quick 3 autos, but you have to be able to step out of combat and actually get that active before you can go in. So if you're constantly trading and constantly pushing the wave, your Hail of Blades is never really getting you anything. But I think the idea here, I'm assuming for kog'maw, is going to be you step back, get the Hail of Blades active ready, pop your W, and do quick 3 long-range autos to try to really get a big bit of burst down at the start of a fight or the start of a trade, then back off, reset that, look to do that every time your W's up.
I love that, because if you actually get help picks, you get that E damage, you also get a little bit of a Glitter Lance amp, so it's going to be really nice first 2-3 level damage here until they can start to mitigate that.
We'll have to see, though, if it actually does work out, right? If you can't actually pull it off, if you're constantly stuck in combat, you get very little out of it. We did see lethal tempo last game, and that's certainly kind of a more common approach, as that is easier to just activate with your E. It's such an easy skill shot to hit. Then you pop your W with that bonus attack speed, and that's going to be kind of staying on you more consistently throughout a fight. All
right, and we are going to throw it to Pastry for a quick sideline report.
Thank you very much, Riv. I had a quick talk to Kane from Team Liquid just to ask about the Urgot pick, as we haven't seen it too much, and it is, as Azael noted, a little bit weak in solo queue. He said that they didn't need something too fancy in the top lane, and Impact is very comfortable in Urgot, and the ultimate is so game-changing in a team fight that even though the champion hasn't received the changes yet, they felt comfortable enough here to pick it. It's back to you guys.
Thank you, Pastry. We can see Impact already trying to do just that and make it in the top lane here. Week 3. Second day was the last time he played the Urgot, but it's like riding a bike for him. Right back to it.
Yeah, Urgot certainly, was such a staple champion for so long, going back to last year's Worlds even, and been played non-stop. So these top laners are very comfortable on it. We'll see if Impact can succeed. Because if he's doing well in that 1v1, I totally agree. It's still very powerful in that team fight. The ultimate, as Kane is talking about, completely can change the course of a team fight. You pull someone in, you get the execute, you flash on their team, clear them all up, boom, team fight can be won.
Yeah, get excited. 2 pentas for DoubleLift Jinx so far. Ooh. We'll see how they'll do overall. Caustic Spittle there onto CoreJJ, but no follow-up, as it's just a little extra damage. Rush giving himself up here in mid as he hovers from lane to lane. Actually, I think he was just out of vision there. One minion may have seen him.
Yeah, Rush is trying to go scuttle for scuttle here. He wanted to actually grab up both, but Xmithie, did do a path that was going to allow him to already grab that. He went red to Krugs. That's going to allow you to get an earlier level 3 off of that scuttle. So, a quick pathing here from both junglers. Going to be grabbing the Krugs for the bonus experience. All the gold that does come from that camp it's really the only camp that allows you to get that really quick level 3.
So DoubleLift CoreJJ, you can see him on the bot side of your screen. They know they have a bit of an advantage here to start off, as long as DoubleLift is outside that slow range. And they can start putting the pressure on. They're not too far up ahead in CS, but I feel like this lane could take off at any moment.
They definitely can, but you got to be careful, because it is a melee support Tahm Kench here against the ranged support of Hakuho. So you can end up in those situations where DoubleLift goes for a trade, and all of a sudden 2 people are hitting him, while CoreJJ may not be in position to actually trade back. And also, one of the things that people really talk about, it's generally agreed upon that range sports have the advantage in the lane in the straight up 2v2. But people are more worried about, okay, well, what if the jungler shows up? Can you actually survive that gank? And that is why this is heal plus guardian. Certainly a lot of safety brought there, a lot of extra survivability. And then the other big part that a lot of people like to talk about is, okay, well, can you actually control vision well enough once you're on a range support? Because face checking a brush as a Lulu is a lot more dangerous than it is as a Tahm Kench. So you got to take into consideration it's more than just the laning phase that people pick these melee supports for in the LCS.
All right, I'm excited to see what happens. We have a reset cannon wave now as they're back out to the middle of the lane. kog'maw Lulu versus the Jinx Tahm Kench, and Rush is hatching a ward now on that bot side.
Yeah, and They should know that that's there. I would be very disappointed with Apollo and Hakuho if they didn't track that a ward was actually dropped in that rush. So I'm going to assume that he was just there to guard in case of a potential gank, and that they did know the ward was there. You know, it's smart to just show up in lane. If Xmithie comes, you're discouraging any chance of a 3v3. You're allowing them to reset the wave and continue to farm safely. So smart pathing, I think, here from Rush.
A few pings around the map. They have vision from Scryer's Bloom from Hakuho on Echo Fox. So they kind of have an idea where Xmithie is. Damage to the top side. Low mana for impact here. He throws down his damage. Just farms up at the turret. 35 to 28 up top, but impact's still real fine.
Yeah, and mana is one of the biggest reasons that we saw Urgot really starting to fall down in priority. And he has gone mana flow ban. He is going to be likely taking biscuits as well to try to compensate for that, start a corrupting potion, but increase the mana cost so massively on both the Q and the W a couple of patches before this in the nerfs, and that is why we kind of saw him falling out. You can see even a Fairy Charm being purchased up here by Impact, so he is really kind of itemizing and speccing kind of heavily towards some mana regen.
Be able to spit out all that disdain damage, sorry, purge damage. He'll be fine in lane. Teleports back, so he'll be able to set up.
It does mean he's going to be a little bit less tanky, though, because he's not resolved secondary. He doesn't have bone plating. He doesn't have overgrowth, which is going to be additional health that he's missing out on, and a little bit more kind of resistances with that bone plating in the all-in. But
just relying on the ult.
Yeah, exactly. And that W shield has got to kind of keep you safe. You can see Apollo has been going for this, and as he's hitting the minions, you'll see that little buff on his bar in the bottom left of your screen, kind of constantly resetting. So he needs to get out of combat to try to go for it, but the pattern is working very well. DoubleLift is being pushed out completely.
Interesting, too, here. It looks like they don't really want to fight. They could, but he's taking Caustic and his W. He has not taken the Void Ooze yet to slow a fight, so he's getting that passive attack speed plus the W damage.
Exactly. A lot of that just is about that passive attack speed, wanting to be able to kind of maximize that damage. And the E can also be a pretty expensive spell if you're actually using all three of those spells continuously. You'll often run out of mana, so sometimes players will just go for the Q for the passive attack speed and saving their mana for that W to always be able to have enough to use that for those trades.
Feels good. Then you get Hakuho, get that Arden as he starts building up. Attack speed all day.
Definitely feels good, and you can see even kind of a more supportive style build from Rush, perhaps, if he wants to go for things like Night Vow. That can be very effective. This early Ocean, we know how powerful it can be. Echofox starting it up, and they're trying to push Xmithie back out. Cassio's roaming down here too.
Flag is down, 3v4 currently. No leave of the lane from DoubleLift. He had a minion wave at the turret, kind of, so he wanted to clean that up. Dragon is going to go over to Rush as he picks it up, and that's what people want to see. They want to see MVP Rush. We'll start with the first Dragon.
Yeah, that Ocean Dragon is going to really help them out a lot of mana-hungry champions here across the board for Echo Fox, so that is going to be having them feeling very, very comfortable. I also think was a smart choice for Rush to just straight up flash out. His flag was down. You do not want to risk giving up a life there. Don't get CC'd, don't go down. Just trade your flash for that early dragon is well worth it. And knowing that the next one is going to be an Infernal may put a target for a team fight in that next couple minutes.
Let's see what Hakuho is getting. Usually the E and then his W for the attack speed and speed as well, so you'll see even more advantage there and a big steroid for Apollo as Hakuho gets a little bit bigger in lane.
Yeah, the skill orders are always interesting because it can give you some insight into what sort of style they want to play, right? If a Lulu is going for something like 3 points in Q for lane, that can be, okay, you're trying to dominate lane, you're trying to...
You're running an Ignite.
Exactly, you're trying to actually really kind of dominate in that style, but because he's going Guardian, because he has heal, they're going for the more defensive style, and he's going to be maxing shield for simply protecting Apollo, and as you're saying, likely going in W second for the additional speed and attack speed that is going to grant there too.
So you living artilleries to get an idea of what's going on. DoubleLift and CoreJJ pretty good at weathering a mismanaged back there for a moment as that dragon was fought over for just a second. 8.5 minutes in, trades of the blue buff over to Fenix. Looks like Jensen may get the same quite soon.
Yeah, Jensen very likely going to be gifted this blue here by Xmithie, and he certainly needs it as he is very low on mana. Also itemizing very heavily towards this early mana as both of the mid laners really double Dark Seal for the flat mana as well as the corrupting. So much of the game has just become about sustain, and that's why you're seeing those items become so incredibly popular. If you can kind of attack the mana bar effectively of your opponent, you're forcing them to take 4 bases, you're forcing them to recall at bad timings. Not only does that get you a CS advantage, but in this kind of new style of game, that can mean turret plates, which can mean significant amounts of gold, and that's something that wasn't always there.
Let's see if a few of those turret plates get put on the table here. Rift Herald's about to spawn. We already have the first objective going over to Echo Fox. Grabbed by Rush. Echo Fox 6-6 with Rush. So seeing definite success with him in the game, they just had to formulate that to be consistent success, which they found last week.
Yeah, they definitely did last week. And we'll see if they can kind of bring that into this week, because for them, they need to be getting these wins if they want to make playoffs. They're in that tie, you know, with a couple teams coming into this week. There was three-way tie at 6-10. Those teams fighting for one playoff spot. Golden Guardians has been locked in now, so we have 5 teams already locked in playoffs. One spot remaining. You cannot afford to slip down in the standings at this point.
Yeah. Fox not there just yet, but not out just yet. They have that destiny to control, so a win here would be very, very helpful. 10 minutes, stopwatches are up. Expect people to be looking at their wrists here as we get into some plays. Rush is going to start that Rift Herald and try to keep the pace of the game up in Echo Fox's favor.
Yeah, and you can see Rush has gone for the Cinderhulk. I think it makes a lot of sense, as you know, he's going to be kind of the additional frontliner here, trying to play that sort of style when they don't have a tank support, they don't have a true tank top lane. You also don't really need extra damage when you have Cog, Lulu, Lissandra, Aatrox. Those guys are going to be bringing a lot of pain as well. So I think it just makes a lot of sense for Rush to go something like Cinderhulk into Night's Vow, as I was talking about earlier. Just build up all that support for Apollo, keep him safe, because this is not like last game where the kog'maw was way behind. The kog'maw is actually dictating the lane. The kog'maw is up a decent bit of farm and closing in on potentially grabbing that first turret plate, which is a great spot to be in.
Everybody finding a bit of trouble here in the strategy of Team Liquid towards the end of the weeks. They're able to put on a lot of that early game lead. Again, we heard it from Crumbs. If you can start to tack on a bit that advantage, pull Xmithie around more than Xmithie gets to do himself, you really get an idea of how to get behind and under the skin of Team Liquid.
Something I really like here is you can see across the map, look at this tunnel network actually that has been created by Xmithie all the way across that jungle, so they can actually power clear a lot faster. He's been using his cooldowns consistently to drop this whole line all the way across the map, so he can travel from side to side very, very quickly and efficiently, and that's a small little thing that is going to give him more mobility across the map. It's just smart stuff from Xmithie.
To mid quite quickly. This will not be able to take down the turret as he gets a shot on the eye, doing a good percentage of the health. And once those minions spawn, I should say camp spawn, like you said, there they are all over and under the walls, so he can get himself in a good spot to keep up in CS.
But they did get those turret plates, right? Unlike last game, they drop it pre-14 minutes. They cash in on 2 plates, which is essentially equivalent to that 1 kill. And Infernal is now spawned on the map. Xmithie is making his way down to this bottom side. They would love to get a kill and turn that into that Infernal Dragon, but Rush here to cover once again. Rush has been in the right place at the right times to cover this bot lane so far this game.
I love how you size up these first fights. Do we have enough just for the fight? Do we want to blow ultimates and go back, or do you want the kill outright? So far, they pull back, seeing how Echo Fox reacts to the initial engage, and it seems like things will be calmed down for now.
This could end up being a party, though. You know, it's both TPs available on the top side of the map.
Yeah, they're getting in each other's face, so that can't happen.
Are fighting for advantage, but it's actually going to be Fenix roaming up towards the top side, so they potentially are going to try to do something to pressure Impact back, and then maybe double TP down to the bottom side, but Impact is respecting the potential roam.
Ooh, Xmithie
steals it away.
Steals that away from Rush after he feels very confident that he's had the upper hand in the jungle this game. He finds Xmithie there right in the shadows.
Yeah, and Xmithie quietly, you know, has established himself a nice farm advantage. He is on that early warrior, and they're going to go for him now. Hakuho roaming up.
Didn't get the knock-up, so he had a chance to get himself out, and the distance for the tunnel does not pop him through. Cataclysm goes down for Rush, and that may be one of the things that I was saying. TL wants the ults. They still have the 50-50 fight with Rush alive.
Yeah, Rush, though, expending that ultimate, pretty hefty price to pay. You know, it is a big part of your team fight power in the early stages, and that is going to be gone. I think what he was trying to do was perhaps lock him away from that wall so he couldn't tunnel over the wall, because you can sometimes disrupt the Rek'Sai burrow that way, but it is TL now starting up the dragon as Jensen had mid lane priority. Fenix is going back to base.
Right in the face of Rush. A great knock-up onto Xmithie from Rush. It's going to be the bot side, though, and that is almost a very, very dead Apollo. A Cathian Surprise is going to be the only thing he uses for extra damage. Xmithie's low. Solo coming up big with his TP in. 3 members quite low on that side of Team Liquid, and they have to be careful of how fast Solo can come out of this brush. Flashes forward, DoubleLift answers as well, and they are going to get the kill onto Impact, and 3 now turn tail on Team Liquid. It's Fox in the bot lane, standing tall.
Yeah, the start of the play looking so good for TL. A great TP flank. They take down Apollo, but the rest of the members of Echo Fox are getting the damage out, and they are so much more healthy that not only will they get the first turret, they will get this Infernal Dragon, you have to imagine here too, which is a big win for Echo Fox. They're now significantly ahead of TL.
You said it could have been a big fight, and once we looked at those top laners, you said, and these guys might participate. It's exactly what happened. Azael Solo coming in very quick on that fight, and his initial hit really started to mix things up for Echo Fox.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Solo significantly ahead in the farm. This was TL trying to pull the trigger here. They have a deep ward. Impact is TPing down. CoreJJ comes in behind with Jensen. It's a great start to the play, but Jensen is almost completely out of mana at this point. A nice flash forward with the ultimate, gets a fear on a couple, but hey, the health bars are low. Jensen's out of mana. Impact just gets absolutely burst down. You know, he's pushed really low into that stopwatch. Xmithie is killed in the meantime, and Solo's still full health, going forward, threatening that team fight. You know, Solo's sitting 40 CS up now on Impact at this stage of the game. That is a really significant margin, grabbing a kill in that bot lane fight as well.
TL trying to react as fast as possible after this, seeing what they can scrape back up as Echo Fox take a bit of a breather. That's the moment you have. It's not going to be too much. So bottom turret may fall here. Solo's back to protect. They're going to get a lane swap with now Apollo on the top side. And actually looking to go for the kill on a CoreJJ here. Give him something to think about as the minion wave was still there for DoubleLift. Oh, Solo could get himself into trouble. World Ender stacking up on this one. It looks like they're going to be able to take him down and stick on him hard enough to get the kill. Get excited for DoubleLift. Brings him up to the fight. Is that enough for one more rocket? World Ender's going to keep him there. DoubleLift wants it. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, not enough, but still, good job buying time from Solo because they have the first play on this turret. Both of them are going to be knocking it down very fast. Jinx crushes through turrets, but likewise, kog'maw knocks it down very quick.
Both sides. I love this, Azael. Oh man, we are going turret for turret across the map here in Fox versus Team Liquid.
Yeah, Fox does have the bigger wave, but they will back off regardless. So it is both turrets on opposite sides of the map taking down. That miasma stopped him.
Fenix. Not feeling good about this one. Xmithie may choose to go back in. I don't think he hit the mark though on that Prey Seeker, so they stand aside for the fight.
So well played on both sides. Jensen timing the miasma to deny the claw out, but then Fenix self-ulting to actually block and avoid Impact's ultimate coming through on the Urgot. So really well played by both sides. This is a tightly contested game. Not what you expect of a team that's 14-2 going up against a team that is 6-10.
I love how the builds are, they act differently here. DoubleLift looking for the crit with the Infinity Edge, the attack speed. Brawler's Grieve, Apollo's just like, give me more attack speed, and I will start to chunk you out.
And they're going to have to play really well around the windows of Apollo having his W, the Bio Arcane Barrage. When that is up for kog'maw, he is monstrously strong.
Oh my word, Xmithie not feeling good here, and Echo Fox is taking the game into their own hands. Not even too many wards forward, just going off snap judgment, but they are behind each other on these plays.
I mean, Lulu is going to be really hard for them to deal with. TL now down a member. They're going to lose this mid lane turret. Echo Fox is running the map. If you turn the nameplates off, you'd think the teams were swapped, right? It's Echo Fox dictating the pace of this game. It's them with both of the dragons. It's them with all of these advantages, and certainly
it's been a rarity to see a team making the first step over Team Liquid, and even when taking that turret, they're moving to the next thing, right? Fenix is already top, they're moving that shortstop to second. You know, they're getting everybody in the place they need to be if somebody else left that lane. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I would say a lot of the signature of these TL games is often feels pretty even. Then that one fight happens, TL crushes you, and now it's not even, right? And this was kind of what we saw TL going for in that bottom lane, but Echo Fox was equal to the task. They actually come out ahead on that fight, and that was always where you see that happening. You see the TP come in, you're like, yep, of course, it's TL. They're going to win this fight. They're going to take the dragon, they get the turret. But none of that happened, and now they are really on the back foot here and going to have to be playing really, really carefully, because if Apollo gets that free time with the Bio Arcane Barrage up, buffed up, sped up by this Lulu, he can kill your whole team.
Good comms here from Echo Fox. If that is what is keeping them in this game, they've all been playing right behind each other, and it just seems like they are keeping the chatter up. Top side is for Fenix, as we said before. They're keeping that party of Apollo and Hakuho together, combined at the hip for that protection on the kog'maw as he continues to scale up. Remember, he runs barrier this game along with the shield, along with the wild growth, a heal. Apollo is literally the carry bomb, and they're ready to light the fuse in probably another 10 minutes. He's getting big.
Yeah, he's definitely getting big, and even once he hits that Rage Blade, I'd say he's going to be totally online. You know, DoubleLift, I think, is going to be more kind of having that target on 3 items. That's what a lot of people like to talk about is Impact.
Forcing a
member
fight
coming in.
A little bit of a bait here. How long can they get the hook line and sinker in? No, top side fight. Jensen almost goes down. Fenix over the wall. One Glacial Shard to possibly get the kill. They turn to Xmithie because that's where the vision is. The Frozen Tomb goes down onto him. Over the wall is the path, but they do not decide to follow, not knowing where Jensen completely went. A flash out from him and a flash out from Xmithie. It looks like the map is quieted down, so this is the fight we're watching.
Yeah, Xmithie just going to get run down, though. Nowhere really for him to go here. He will fall. It's another death for Xmithie as Echo Fox getting more across the map.
Almost has it. They give it to Apollo. Beautifully done. His first kill of the game as he starts picking it up. A little bit more power.
They're picking on the Baron, Riv. This is 20 minutes. It's just spawned. Are they actually starting it up? We can't see just yet, but yeah, they're on it. kog'maw is going to shred through this. He has the extra attack speed coming through from the Jarvan flag.
19 seconds on Xmithie. Not even a 50-50 coming here. I'd say the 80-20. Hakuho with the shields onto Apollo. Fenix is going to be going down. This is not looking good. It definitely could be a steal. It's not, though. Rush is able to grab it, but the resulting fight could be huge. You need to get out with Baron for it to work. That's going to be the giant rocket from DoubleLift. Looking for the double kill. Not excited enough to get himself into the fight for another one. But he does get that super mega death shot in.
Yeah, 2 kills, huge for DoubleLift, but the Baron even bigger for Echo Fox. This TP, ill-advised from Fenix, but still he buys enough time with the Zhonyas, trying to stay alive long enough to keep them away so they can finish off the Baron. The smite does get hit this time by Rush. Whew, down to 100 health there, but they knew that they didn't have a jungler on the other side, so very hard for them to steal it away. DoubleLift gets the reset, speeding up with that ultimate kill, but it's not enough, and it is now Baron buff on 3 members of Echo Fox, 3,000 gold ahead, Rage Blade completed critically for Apollo here.
Ooh.
And Impact is getting corralled.
Yeah, he's going to have to take the high road out of here. I don't even think he wants that.
He's going off into the sunset, Riv.
Quick disdain back. He's going to get chained back in. The 1-2 punch. And then knock him down. A kill going over to Fenix as he gives that treatment back to Team Liquid. They're going to start pushing the top side. And it looks like they have an attack on 2 fronts here going down the mid lane, too.
I mean, this game is not done yet, but the victory is feeling closer and closer for Echo Fox. And you've got to think, how do you power rank this team if they just beat C9 and TL the last 2 weeks of the season?
Oh, wait. Getting stuck. DoubleLift has to get taken out. The flash for CoreJJ and Devour spits out DoubleLift in a safe spot. But Echo Fox still sees blood in the water on this fight. It may be their own if they stay too long, though. Solo gets out, and he's going to be safe, but does have to use that ultimate. Echo Fox thinks twice about this engage.
Yeah, getting those kills was so big for DoubleLift. He is now at 2.5 items, so hit that 3-item power spike. DoubleLift certainly has the ability to take over, especially if Apollo uses that W, the Bioarcane Raj, at the wrong time. Here comes CoreJJ, they're going for it.
In the moment they don't have a chance to look at Jensen or DoubleLift, it's the fight over for Echo Fox. Fear Beyond Death goes in. They get a little bit of ground, but TL doesn't want the whole map just yet because they know they can't take it. How big is the flank? Jensen's gonna be right there. He gets the frozen ring around, but CoreJJ again with a beautiful save. DoubleLift may have a very scary road to get back in, but Echo Fox backs off. And on a knife's edge, Team Liquid continue to find a few kills and keep themselves from going further behind.
What an incredibly exciting game here. These 2 teams going blow for blow. Barely able to escape on either side there. CoreJJ saving Jensen and what would have likely meant at least another turret going down had they lost him. So TL hanging on. Still though, 3K down, Infernal advantage to their opponents. Now, Xmithie has not been able to get involved in this game whatsoever. 0-4-0 on the Rek'Sai has been about Echo Fox finding him in his jungle, finding him out, and punishing him consistently.
And we see what becomes that crutch, however, for TL. When you have Xmithie down, when he's trying to focus on more than adding to the lanes and adding to the game, but repairing his, it really starts to bring TL to all sorts.
It definitely does. Can be very, very difficult. This 3rd item now trying to be completed. For Apollo as well. These marksmen are pretty close to parity. DoubleLift, though, really only needs a couple hundred gold for that double zeal. He will be sitting at 75% crit. You start getting in some of those crit rockets, especially if he grabs a rapid fire for the long-range rocket. That can put Apollo in a bad way very, very quickly.
Coming into this week, we said Fox needed to find that same game they had against C9. Just kind of insert and replay. Man, if they aren't doing it right here and making a good job of it. 25 minutes in, they have TL down to second tiers in the mid lane and bot.
I mean, credit to Apollo and Hakuho. How much better are they making this kog'maw look than we saw last game? It looked like it wasn't really able to do much of anything. Yes, it was different lane matchups. They're really showing, the thought process behind that pick in the last game, what you can get from a really successful kog'maw game. And Apollo certainly looking good on the pick so far. We'll see if he can stay alive, because when you get to the super late game stages, it becomes all about these two marksmen. Who can put more pressure on the opposing marksman? Who can get to him and take him out? Because if DoubleLift is pressured and Apollo is not, you think Echo Fox wins the fight. And when you look at the comps, there's 3 members who can dive forward towards this Jinx on the side of Echo Fox. There's not really a lot of threat on that backline from TL besides potentially a TB flank, because this is a 0-4 Rek'Sai. He's not going to one combo your kog'maw who has a Lulu protecting him.
There has to be follow-up to the knock-up. And you said before, it's not a team that wants to dive in altogether on the side of Team Liquid. Looking at Apollo's build, I'm loving all that attack speed, and he throws some Ninja Tabis in there to say, I know I'm going to be close enough to take a lot of that AD, so that's not going to be attack speed and Circries. That's Ninja Tabis.
Yeah, because Xmithie, Impact, DoubleLift, those guys are probably the most likely ones to be hitting you. Cassio is more short range, very likely to be zoned out, not really able to get that access. So that's 3 members who are going to be having a lot of physical damage, a lot of auto attack damage. So I think that kind of pit stop makes some sense there, and DoubleLift will not be going rapid fire. Is the PD attempting to survive any potential burst that could be coming out?
Right.
So he's going for the more defensive option, saying he does not need the added damage. He just needs to stay safe and maximize DPS.
See what the next item for these two are. Always interesting to see what ADs will go now. Get a little bit more damage in with crit. Already have the attack speed amp from your Lulu and just Jinx's passive all together.
You've also got to really look up to the top lane and realize Apollo is way ahead of Impact, and he has a big gold lead there, well over 2,000 gold ahead. So he's going to be putting out a tremendous amount of damage. But it is Echo Fox just racing down mid lane. Smart ultimate here from CoreJJ, actually just bringing back the jungler to try to defend that, but it is DoubleLift caught out.
Also not the best to defend a turret. DoubleLift says, yeah, you're caught in here with me, Rush. How long can they decide to stay in? Heal comes out from DoubleLift, Solo over the walls. They get Jensen to move a little bit off course, and now Solo gets a dash back over. He's slowed, however, by the zap. Jensen's fangs getting sucked in.
They want that shutdown, Riv.
That World Ender, will they be chasing? Fires out the ultimate, Fear Beyond Death hits Solo. Not low enough, however.
Yeah, very close to actually snagging him. I think he was just barely out of range, and does survive that. There would have been that 900 gold shutdown for Impact. Would have been a big deal to actually swing him back, but credit to DoubleLift for the threat assessment there, realizing where the members are. Many AD carries certainly are going to instantly flash out when that Jarvan does hit you with the ult, but he realized, hey, there's enough time that this can expire before the rest of the team does get over here and actually can threaten to take me down. So he holds onto the flash that is critical for a hyper carry like Jinx to have that flash, not only to go aggressive, but to be able to actually even threaten to enter those fights.
The first time in the game we're seeing here, Azael, that we just saw Echo Fox back off of TL as they tried to set up a little bit of vision around Baron. They're starting to wonder if they're actually 3,500 gold in the lead, because it's not as much so visual anymore. They don't feel that gold in their hands right now. Team Liquid's looking scary.
Yeah, they are looking really scary, and gold leads be damned. It's more about positioning. It's more about execution. When you do have 2 such high-powered compositions, sure, you can be ahead in gold, but a lot of that is on the Aatrox, which is sometimes harder to actually execute on in those fights compared to something that is more of kind of a tank style play like the Urgot, right? You just kind of have to soak up damage, create space for your 2 hyper carries. You have a Cassio and a Jinx. That always has to be respected, because those 2 guys, if they get freedom in a fight, they can take over.
Machine gun mage, machine gun gunner.
Just machine gun.
Machine gunner.
Yeah.
Coming up on 30 minutes here. Baron is up, as we said. That'll take a little bit of vision score for everybody. We're coming up on 300 CS for the marksman, getting very big. Hurricane on top of Rageblade, on top of Blade of the Ruin King, and it's a Quicksilver Sash actually DoubleLift dips into to keep himself super safe if CoreJJ is the one getting locked up.
Yep, and I think, if you're ever split up, sometimes you do have those situations where, you get rooted and a CoreJJ gets polymorphed or something, can't actually devour you. You need to be able to have that QSS, because building a little bit more defensively sometimes actually lets you put more damage out, knowing that you have the ability to get out of those sticky situations. You can position more aggressively, you can get more auto attacks off, and that is kind of what DoubleLift is going for here.
3 items here for Fenix. Jensen 0-0-4. The assists actually have taken a bit of the coffers he would be spending out of. Hasn't been able to get too many full items, but still nice on the Ludens and Nomicon. Kind of an expensive build anyways.
Yeah, but he is certainly scaling up, you know, has those 2 items that are going to be very effective. And we know Cassio, if this goes super late, does kind of get that additional item slot because you don't need to build boots on that champion. It's just in your passive.
What? No, I'm just
no boots. Must be trolling. Didn't buy boots.
Mid lane actually farmed out quite well. There wasn't too much action for these two. We saw Rush and Xmithie kind of heading through it with the knowledge of where they were going early game, but we did see Fenix and Jensen farming it out pretty good. To the mid game, Fenix got a little bit of aggression, but that's once we saw Apollo and Hakuho really starting to take to the bot. Everything's played out now to mid game. 6-4, 30 minutes in, and I couldn't tell you who's going to win the next fight.
Yeah, I mean, no one really can. It's down to that execution, and it's down to also who can get control in this quadrant of the jungle. Because you can see the next objective they really want to take is the Baron. And that means not only getting vision in the Baron pit, but denying vision in this area. And they've done a pretty damn good job of it. We'll see if they actually catch that last ward. It doesn't look like they did, but almost all the vision has been cleared out. But TL now moving members up. They're popping their sweepers. They're trying to move in and actually fight back for this. And this is very, very risky. Xmithie is trying to check with the Prey Seekers, trying to use the Tremor Sense to clear out as many of these wards as possible. But they know if they do get picked, Baron could be gone in a hurry.
They're using these 2 alteration orbs as well. There's one for Jensen and one for DoubleLift, so they can quickly put one in. It can be killed, but they get the vision they need, like you said, without having to walk up too far. Jensen's already used his. That's on cooldown. Impact's in a pretty bad spot. Disdains to safety without hitting any members.
Yeah, that was a really good buffer there on the E by Impact. He just slides out as he's getting rooted. You know, well timed to actually get to safety. They had to call him up though because it's getting tense. They know that Echo Fox could be starting up Baron, that they could be rushing it down with the damage they have in their kits. So certainly TL has to play heavily around this, and it's been a lot about Xmithie and fighting for that, and that's why Xmithie goes right back to base, buys 2 more control wards, and he's kind of on this solo mission to fight for vision non-stop.
Another solo mission here on the bot side. Dragon's getting taken down. Phoenix is hovering.
They might actually try to start up the Baron here.
Phoenix is going to have to buy a whole lot of time for this to work. He's going to be coming out of Zanya as the stasis takes about 5, 6, 7 seconds for him to get the safety. The damage is coming through. Fear Beyond Death drags him in, and they went for broke on that. Echo Fox is going to have to run for the hills or pull out. A beautiful fight here against 5 members of Team Liquid.
I have no idea what Phoenix was thinking there. The rest of his team was actually on the Dragon on the other side of the map. He just tries to go in. He gives up his life, and now they've lost mid lane priority. It's going to be TL making the move down mid lane. They can even retreat back to the Baron. And this may have just given them their way back into this game.
Definitely opened a very big window. I felt a draft on that one.
Baron.
Rush looks like he'll be moving up. A great forward ward in the mid lane here for Liquid. Allows them to see Fox the entire time. The minions will do that as well. And they may be able to set up for TL in the brush here.
Also,
gets caught.
Critical, you know, TL doesn't know this, but Rush does not have Smite. So if they were to start this up, if it did come down to that situation, they wouldn't have the opportunity to go for a Smite steal. But Phoenix is up in 5. He does have TP, so TL just used the opportunity to take a turret, get some vision back. We'll see if a fight breaks out.
This is when you use those ults first. The opposing teams that now weak in fight, and that's what Echo Fox is looking at. Team Liquid with a bunch of ults down. They have to be careful. That Super Mega Death Rocket could still come out of DoubleLift. He's headed to the top side to farm, and somehow TL get caught heading through the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, there was a great TP coming in from Phoenix, making up for that earlier mistake, but Xmithie split from the team again, and Echo Fox say now they will start the Baron. Smite is coming back for Rush, and they're potentially just going to try to rush this down.
Down to that 70-30, that 80-20.
Over the wall.
You're going to be in this Ring of Frost play once again. Jensen gets the cleanse on, down to safety. Miasma on to Phoenix now. Can't get too much movement. Solo's doing a great job of meat wall in the front of the line as they chase Impact down to the left. And it does not look like TL can finish out this fight. They want to retreat. They want to give themselves a bit of room.
Yeah, they're going to have to get all the way out of there as Xmithie getting picked off. That's twice now he's gotten picked off, and Echo Fox immediately commit to the Baron. Very decisive calls from them. And now it is 5 members alive with the Baron buff. They can start that full court press, push on all sides because they have all the strength to do it.
Beautifully done by Echo Fox, tempting fate, going right back into it, knowing that TL would be on the retreat. And we see them now standing tall, 7-5, 34 minutes in, and they have extended that now to about a 4,700 gold lead.
Yeah, and critically, they also got some big cooldowns out of their opponents. Xmithie was down his flash, DoubleLift had to flash out, CoreJJ had to flash out as well. So a lot of more vulnerable members here on the side of TL. Xmithie maybe getting caught out here once again.
Not looking good. You can't just get that Rek'Sai farm alarm out anymore. It's an attack. It's an aggressive. Oh, not a retreat. Xmithie goes down, and Queen of the Xersai 0-6 and 1 this game.
Yeah, Xmithie is just struggling this game, getting caught out time and time again here for Liquid. That is a pretty long death timer now. Impact gonna have to come back with the rest of the team, and you can see Apollo bought up a straight up full IE. He had so much gold in his pockets, and this is the full-on DPS style build. This is not a Frozen Mallet. This is not a Wit's End, something more defensive. A couple crits from that kog'maw. He has Hail of Blades. If he gets 3 quick crits, you're probably just dead from full almost instantly.
Everything's going to be coming out quick from this Lulu'd up kog'maw at this point. Ardent Sensor with all the attack speed that he needs. And now they're on the front line, solo over the wall to push off Team Liquid from one of their initial inhibitor turrets, and that will fall. Echo Fox on the inhibitor. 35 minutes in, and Team Liquid is looking to stop what's going to happen next. They're trying to think of where Echo Fox could go and do it first, but Echo Fox is still going to the beat of their own drum.
I mean, you get that one little bit of poke onto DoubleLift. Remember, he has no flash. He has to back off immediately. He's so easy to dive onto without that summoner available. So now they are Baron buffing up this bottom lane minion wave. You can see that Hakuho has actually ran down to speed up those minions so they can come in, try to crack a second inhibitor here, and try to look to close out this game.
They have to be very careful with this timing. 55 just about on both Elder and this Baron power play. If they get themselves up to that last second of power play, they lose Elder. That's double cloud for TL. And they know it is just on the horizon. They have to clear out the super minions coming in, and you have top wave crashing in just a little bit here for Echo Fox as well. They're biding their time perfectly, and we have Hakuho bringing up the Baron minions now from the bot lane. A little bit of strategy.
Still very strong wave clear here for TL. They have the ability to turn around a fight. So you gotta see that respect given from Echo Fox, and in they go!
Stayed in one, Apollo gets hit! He gets back, Wild Gold is on him, and now he's got 3 shots on the impact. That's damage on the DoubleLift, he gets the cleanse out, they're following through. The kill coming in for Fenix. This looks like it could be it, as Echo Fox are rising for the victory. And now it's gonna be damage onto the Nexus turrets. Jensen and Xmithie can only find solace on the fountain. And would you believe it? After the 2-0 weekend, Echo Fox looking strong, and Echo Fox will take down Team Liquid.
The rampage continues. They take down DoubleLift. They take down TL. Last week it was Cloud9. This week it was Team Liquid. This Echo Fox team is just on fire.
Feeling good throughout the entire game. Rush starting it off for the team, saying he came back feeling better. Left the team not knowing kind of what situation he was in, what kind of game he wanted to play, but he said he found it, and he's bringing that to the rest of the team, and they're right behind him for it. Throughout the early game, Rush played great, and throughout the mid-game, the team of Echo Fox came together to play fantastic.
Yeah, they played very, very well across the board. Fenix where he needed to be at the right times. You know, Solo certainly running the top lane. 5-0-4 on the Aatrox, almost a full 100 CS up on impact there. Credit to Echo Fox tracking the summoners. They knew DoubleLift didn't have his flash from that Baron fight.
Yep.
Over in the river, flash was still down, so they know they can fully commit to diving onto this Jinx. And once he goes down, that's it for TL. There was no one else who could threaten Apollo in that fight. He escaped the initial engagement, and he's just putting out such ridiculous damage buffed up by this Lulu.
And I think we saw it last week a little bit. We saw the Zyra Khan from Apollo and Hakuho, but we saw Apollo and Hakuho. You got to sit with them on cooldown.
Yeah.
And these are two guys that just really know each other. They're great friends. They know how to play together. And a kog'maw-Lulu combination seems like it would be right up their alley in their style and the way that those two love to play.
Especially after the Jinx performance last week too, right? And it's two of these hyperscaling marksmen. I really do like bringing out the Lulu, committing to that. Yes, it's a bit more risky. Had Xmithie really been able to pop off and punish this range support, maybe that doesn't come together. But Xmithie was held completely down in this game. He was sitting at 0-6-1 at one point, picked up a kill, I believe, in that last team fight, but Xmithie was nowhere to be seen.
Right.
Paulo and Hakuho going to run over the late game.
Absorbing a lot of pressure in mid was Fenix, and Solo with some sick teleports that game. Let's send it down to Pastry, who's ready for an interview with the triumphant top laner.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Solo after Echo Fox just took down Team Liquid. You guys have been on a rampage. What's happening?
The return of Rush, I guess. I mean, we're bringing the squad back together, and I think we're just kind of coming together at a good time.
And of course, to take down Team Liquid, still the #1 team in the league. How did you guys manage to do that today?
I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff. They put together like a really good draft plan, and I think we kind of like took out a lot of things they wanted to do, and we got to play exactly what we practiced. So just from the start, we had an advantage.
Has to feel good. Last question for you. Obviously, playoffs still a bit complicated. You guys really just trying to do your thing and win out. What are your thoughts on the matchup tomorrow versus CLG?
We just got to play like we did today, have a really solid game plan and kind of execute as a team and then see how we fare in the playoff race.
Well, congratulations. Certainly going well so far. Thank you very much, Solo. We are going to throw it back, though, to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. Huge, huge victory for Echo Fox here. Now 3-0 with Rush back in the lineup after his week of removal. Jarvan 3 times, but a win over our first place team puts them currently in that 6th place slot. It is important to recognize that it is not secured. They just have to stay 1 game ahead of CLG and Optic Gaming.
But you're feeling so good. You just took down team #1. So when you go up against CLG, who's in the same boat you are, they're not going to have as much confidence as you are. Even if CLG wins today, they're still going to come into tomorrow as the underdogs because of this win.
Yeah, very much so. Mark, thoughts?
I mean, it's absolutely insane that they were able to come back and get this 3-0. I think everyone thought they were dead in the water, even with Rush subbing in at the start of last week. And what's crazy is it doesn't look like, oh my God, Rush is back, 1v9, let's slam. It's actually a more controlled, like mistake-free Echo Fox that is turning all these wins.
Right. I mean, we got to take a look at gold leads built by the different laners across Echo Fox in this game and out to that kind of early 2K lead across the entire team. Solo in the top lane building 1,000 on his own.
I mean, a lot of this is draft. I mean, Urgot's supposed to be dead until next patch when he gets his buffs back. And like, I don't know why they're picking him. Solo crushes him. Bot lane, they get a nice counter pick where Jinx is usually pretty weak into kog'maw, so that was great. Apollo punished that. And then Lissandra, more of a team fight roaming champion, getting ahead of Jensen as well. So Echo Fox's lanes dominated.
So I know DoubleLift did an interview where he was saying that last week in their loss against FlyQuest, that was a draft that they're not very familiar with. They've never really practiced that before, and this, again, might be that. And I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that if you're playing a draft that you're not familiar with and the coaching staff is aware of that, it's usually because in playoffs, you're going to have a game that your draft is weaker, and your players are going to have to figure out how to win being down in draft. And so I don't necessarily mind that Team Liquid is playing this way right now because it should make them stronger in playoffs.
Right. I mean, they're still, again, the #1 team in the league. I don't think there should be major cause for concern, although we will contrast that in just a bit against teams like TSM who are surging. But I want to return to your control point, Mark. Let's take a look at that second Baron in this game because that's exactly what this was control.
Right. You pick the enemy jungler, great. You're already ahead. Obvious call, go to Baron. But it's what you do from there that I'm really excited to see out of this team because with Fenix and Rush, those are 2 guys who love to go in and look for kills. And it felt like they were doing that a little bit too much over the course of the season. This time around, Fenix waits in the flank, knows that they have plenty of damage on the Baron, and when he comes around from the flank and takes his claw in, he doesn't get baited into looking for the aggressive ultimate. He just forces the cleanse out of Jensen, self-ult, heal, and then kog'maw finishes the Baron, and then they walk away.
Boom.
You don't need to go all in with that flank, Rush turning off Baron, trying to end the game instantly right there. They did the really smart play of just Lissandra 1v4 zone while the rest of the team does Baron.
And that actually set up their win because they got the flash out of DoubleLift, which lets them then tower dive bottom lane and win off of 1 push. So the patience actually pays dividends later off.
Yeah, now we, of course, know that Golden Guardians locked one of the 2 remaining playoff spots. Echo Fox is one of the teams in that conversation. Does this iteration of Echo Fox feel like the top 6 team?
I think so. They looked really good here. They seem to be really confident in the way that they're speaking about the game and the way that they're just saying the coaching staff is doing a great job. Rush is back in. Everyone's doing this, but maybe Clutch Gaming comes out and they one-up it, and then CLG comes back and one-up it. These teams are really pulling it together the last week.
Still plenty that can happen. But now let's go back to that point that you raised, Crumbs. Team Liquid and where they stand in looking towards the postseason. Of course, they suffered a couple losses recently, one to FlyQuest and one here today. How concerned are you? How much of this are you reading into? How much are you not?
The only thing I'm looking into is when Xmithie falls behind, Team Liquid crumbles. When they're ahead, they're doing great. They're just crushing everywhere. But it seems like Xmithie is such a strong catalyst for this team that if he's to be singled out in the draft, in the play style, I'm not sure how Team Liquid's going to do in falling back up, because every time that he's fallen behind, they come back not because of their own doing. It's usually the other team just fumbling their advantage.
I mean, this is the second game, including the TSM loss that they had in the first half of the split, where like Xmithie is not just like, oh, I'm behind because the enemy team really counter jungle me. He's making actively bad decisions on his own, and that's really concerning, because when that happens, like you said, he's the catalyst. Suddenly your catalyst is killing himself. It's like, what else do we have to make good plays on this team?
Yeah.
And then to the draft point, like, this isn't an experimental draft. Like, you've played a ton of Urgot, you've played a ton of Cassio. Jinx is one of, you got pentakills on. He's in a music video on Jinx. Like, he's good at Jinx. These are not new champs that they're losing on. And so for me, it is a little concerning.
Okay.
Maybe not tomorrow versus TSM, but, you know, if you don't figure out what your team wants to do and there's new drafts coming up, like, this is a little worrying.
I think concern in the context of our first place team is very much justified. But of course, we do need to remember this is their only third loss of the entire split. They've got one more game to go. We'll see if they can bounce back against TSM tomorrow. On the other side of the break, Clutch Gaming hope to keep their playoff dreams alive opposite that strong TSM. See if they can pull off the upset after this.